So when we're ready to start, we'll come into equal standing, feet close together. Want to give ourselves a moment. We'll balance the weight in the soles of the feet. We'll bring some energy into the leg muscles and take hold of the leg bones. Just gently bring them into the grip of the muscles. And then bringing the attention into the hip, let's see if we can sink the tailbone. And then work on extending up the back body, all the way up to the base of the skull. And just have a natural full inhale, breathing in up to the collarbones. At some point, we're breathing out. We'll bring the hands on the belly. We'll breathe right down into the belly. And then we can release our breathing, and we'll work with our hands, just gently rubbing on the core. Working our way around the back, down into the glutes, up to the kidneys. And then right up the center line, just rubbing up to the collarbones, back down a couple of times. And then we'll pause on the sternum and lightly dig the fingertips in, pulling wide. So let the fingertips drop for a moment into that space between the ribs, working up and down. Want to have a bit of clear pressure, but still gentle pressure. And then we can just, with the fingers, just draw across below the collarbones. And next time, just release the arms. Let them go out. We'll just stretch up. Just take that moment to lengthen all the way along the back body. And then we'll release the arms. We'll come back to the core. And we're going to wipe up a side. So cross the core, up the side. Allow the arm that goes up, if it's okay for the shoulder, just to move behind the head. Just whichever angle is comfortable. Letting the arm float up out of the way. And then we'll take both arms up again as we're ready to, just opening, lengthening. Let's rotate into the shoulder, push up through our palms, feel the shoulders lift, come down the back body, through the tailbone, into the soles of the feet. And then our out breath, we'll just release the arms low and forward, and we're going to wipe down the arms, wiping down the arm. See if you can come across the collarbone. Try to get all sides of the arms, not just one part. Okay, and when we're ready, we'll sweep up again, rotating, pushing at the ceiling. So lengthening along the back of the neck. Exhale, let's soften the arms, and we're going to wipe down the back of the head, neck, shoulders, collarbones. And as we wipe down, let the fingertips move across the collarbones, above and below, where it's comfortable. We're also going to move the hands forward, wiping gently on the throat. And now when we're ready to, we'll slow the hands down and work from the elbows. They'll draw circles around the shoulders. We'll reverse our direction. And the elbows will go wide. We'll release the arms. When it's time for an inhale, coming up. And for our exhale, we'll bend the knees, sink the hips. We're going to take the hands down to the feet. So making sure we've got the low back comfortably positioned. And once we're ready, wiping up from the feet over the ankles, up onto the shins. Wiping on all sides, from toes, around the heels, across the feet. And we'll start working a bit higher here now. Let's wipe up to our knees, all sides of the shins and calves. And keep working up, working with our thighs, all sides, working back up into our groins, over our glutes, onto the low back. So we're slowly bringing ourselves taller, coming straighter as we're ready. And when it's time, we'll come up our center line. Arms release, rotate into the shoulders, push up through the palms, place the tailbone. Want it, a feeling of it sinking down. The exhale is going to release the arms. We're going to bend the knees, touch the knees, and the hands are at the knees. We'll just move into a knee circle. Want to be aware of where we're placing the tailbone here, how we're using the hips. We're circling from the knees. We want to allow the ankles and the hips to respond internally easily. I want to use both directions. And then returning into the center. We'll take the hands up onto the thighs, off of the knees. We'll lean weight through the arms. So we take weight from the low back. And we need our exhale. Let's tuck the hips under, push the vertebra back, rounding the back. Tucking the chin, pressing up at the neck. And when we need to breathe in, let's reverse the shape of the back. So hips will go back, lifting up along the upper neck, shoulders coming up. Hold this position and see if you can tip the tailbone. Reversing when we're ready with an exhale. And just exploring at our own tempo. When we explore tipping in the tailbone, feel that energy, the difference it creates in the belly. And when we get our exhale, pausing there. And with our inhale, bringing ourselves tall, reaching, rotating the arms. Bring the shoulders up as we push up through the palms. Connect to the soles of the feet. And we're going to release the arms when we're breathing out. We'll move the feet wide apart under the hips, hips width apart, hands at the tops of the legs, let the knees bend. And we're going to move into a hip circle. As we're circling the hips, Just give some attention to the weight in the soles of the feet. And just explore having the soles of the feet evenly glued down onto the mat. Going back and forth. And let's ease back into the center. We'll slide the hands further down on the thighs. Lean weight into the hands. Arms are long. And we're going to move the hips underneath, rounding the back with our out breath. Reversing when we're ready. And we come to our exhale. We'll pause. Use an inhale to come tall, having the fingers draw up the center line. Lift the shoulders, release the arms, and reach. And we'll bring the arms down as we're breathing out, and we'll take the feet wider. So explore shoulder width, maybe a bit wider. Hands are on the hips again. Knees are soft. We're going to do a hip circle, but we're going to let this circle move our weight side to side. Want to really do the work from the hips, though, rather than have the legs be where the movement comes from. At some point, we'll change direction. And then let's pause down in the center. Okay, we're going to shift the weight to one side, have the leg we're leaving behind pick up and sweep across and come back down. And we'll shift to the other side. That leg we leave behind comes up, moves across the center line, lands again, and just smoothly. We're going to take our time, explore the ability to have this moving balance. Doesn't have to be rushed. Okay, we're going to do one more. And so we'll find this place where we've got our feet wider apart. The leg's going to turn out a little bit. We're going to bend the knees. We want the knee to be in line with the foot. We're going to sink the tailbone. So we want to work down the leg muscles. Have that feeling of using these muscles, using the glutes to open the knees. Tailbone sinks rather than sticking backward. And we're see if we can just lengthen the spine. Now, we're going to come up as we breathe in. Have the arms come up, legs straighten. We'll reach up for a moment, and maybe you want to just try adjusting the legs. When it's an exhale, we're going to bend the knees again, and we'll just bring the hands down onto the thighs. And actually, if you're up a little higher on the thigh, you got the thumbs behind, fingers in front, rotate back a little bit using the hands, and then release, inhaling up. And now we'll just keep going. So just coming up naturally when it's a breath. So gently making sure the knees are well placed. See if you can lower the hips just a little more. You don't want to strain at the hip sockets either, but the kind of muscular effort here is definitely happening in the hips. Okay, and when we're tall, let's pause for a minute. We got the palms together, so elbows bend as much as they need. You're going to lift the shoulders, tuck the chin, float up the hands. So you can keep the fingertips touching. Allow the palms to separate if that's good for the shoulders. And then release the arms around shoulder height, bend the knee. On this straight leg, rotate it out a bit. See if you can lift the toes or the the foot, and just reach toward the foot. And then as you're inhaling, float back up, over to the other side. Adjust the straight leg. When you have a look down, we'll reach down, floating up when we're ready. Now we can float up to straight legs, right? And then change sides. And after we do a few, we may be able to play with the legs a little wider apart. So giving ourselves time to feel into the body. When we're inhale, we get this inhale again. Where's the tailbone? It's so easy to have it pushing back, and that just wears on the lumbar vertebra. Okay, so we're going to pause at the next side. So if we've got a preferred side, pause there. And then see if you can just touch the fingers down. And then come back up again, all the way. We try the same thing on the other side. So we'll go to the pose. And then we'll pause. We'll see if we can land our fingers here. Maybe the palms. And when you're ready, coming up, go to the other side. And again, we'll do the same thing. We'll just turn up that leg, reaching, and then see if we can touch the fingers down, the hands down, and maybe that bent knee, maybe that foot can walk a little further outward, and we can drop just a little bit here, and the hands can be helpful if, and then let's come back up. What I was going to say is if you've got a block in reach, right, you can use a block to help, kind of stick it out there in front somewhere. And we go to a side, we get that reach, and then let's put the hands on the block if you're able to get one. And then that bent leg, that foot is the one that'll walk easily. And we're just placing the block, getting some sinking down, and then shift neutral, and then come up. And we're pretty wide legs, so let's pause. Let's bring the legs in. Okay, maybe we'll come back to that position, but let's kind of shift the attention from going down, I'll call it the back leg, the straight leg, to working over the bent leg. So we'll just bring the forearm onto the thigh. And just sliding to the other side. Foot, knee, running along the line of the foot. And working down the straight leg, pressing gently on the sole of the foot. And then let's adjust upper body, working out of the hips to do that. So not forcing anything, but an internal feeling like you're tipping the tailbone forward a little bit. And then from there, from in the core, lengthen along the spine. And we'll try that on the other side. So always finding the feet, the legs, and then we can look at the tailbone and see if we can lengthen a bit in the back body. And we'll come centered on our in-breath. Okay, so let's float the arms up. We'll pause here for a moment. And we'll go back to our next leg. We'll bring the forearm down. We'll allow this back arm to become the upper arm. And then we'll reaching out through the fingertips. So let's shift weight forward, but press on the back foot. And then take that upper hand to the hip. Move the hips toward the center line and float up as the weight shifts towards center. And we'll float the arms out. And breathing out. So the upper arm becomes the forward arm. And connecting down the back foot, see if we can shift the weight a little forward. And then an in-breath, that upper arm back touching the body, hips moving to center, a gentle path upward for our weight. Okay, again, if there's a block handy, let's use the block now. It's in the same hand as the leg we're going to. Leg turns out, block lands on the inside of the foot, and any height, right? Can be tall, can be flat, or in between. Okay, and then the upper arm going forward. Obviously, we can move the block a bit, move the back foot a bit. So we've got the arm in front of the knee and the upper arm just to the thigh side of the knee, not on the knee itself. Press gently, lengthen in the neck, and then let the eyes walk up the arm. And stop the head before you strain the neck, and then have the eyes reach further. Okay, bring that upper arm back to the hip. Turn the gaze down at the hand holding the block. And take some weight out of the hand. So it's now suddenly just holding on. It's really just all about stability. And we feel that big load in the hip. And so just release. Put some weight, shift the hips to neutral. Actually, we should bring the block up. We're going to need it. Got the block in the hands. And just feel the difference, right? We're just working that one side. We're probably feeling those muscles. So go to the other leg, rotate it out in the hip. Same hand has the block. Blocks on the mat. So we get the upper arm just behind the knee on the thigh there. We're going to let the knee move forward a bit. Fine-tune the block. Connect to the back foot. And we really want to take the effort to lengthen the spine a bit. And then see if that front knee will go a bit lower. So this upper arm coming up. So if you can go from the hand to the back foot and use that to open up the top side, and then let the arm go forward, rotating in the shoulder. And then let the face turn toward that upper arm and lead with the eyes. Literally walk the eyes up the arm. At some point, the neck knows that's far enough. Okay. Let's release the neck, bring the hand back to the hip, look down at the hand on the block, and start taking weight off that hand. Until finally, it's just helping a bit with stability and connect into that front hip. And then we're going to release. So let the hips start to move, pick up the block, come neutral. We're going to walk our feet back in close all the way. So think of the feet under the hips. Okay, so we're going to take the block to the ground. We're going to work it forward. We're going to use our block to get into downward facing dog. So turning down the other, you're going to use the length of the mat, simple way to say it. And the inhale, we're going to take the block up overhead. What we'll do is we'll take the feet a little wider apart. And on the exhale, we'll bend the knees. And so you can just touch the block down. You don't have to have the hips very low. Just lean a bit of weight onto the block. So that'll let you adjust the feet, adjust the hips with that little bit of tuck, and find the place where the joints are comfortable. And we get that. And then we pick up the block and stand back up again. We're going to take the block high. And same move. We're going to come low, land the block, drop the hips, some weight on the block, and start fine-tuning into the body. Really just allowing ourselves to have the hips sink internally. Okay, so we're going to come up one more time. And then we're going to go down again. And once we've got the block touching the ground, just start hopping the block forward. So maybe get it flat so it's the most stable, wherever that puts you. And hop it a few more inches forward. And we can kind of lean out at the block. Heels may leave here, or drop the hips back with the knees bending. And then coming forward again to a place where our choice, we can step the feet back or we can hop the block forward. Just whatever works for us. If we're stepping the feet back, we may need to kind of reposition ourselves. We want to keep a place where both the feet and the block are on our mat. And we're leaning into the block. If we can stand it, we're pressing the hands on the block. We're pressing back in the legs. So lifting the hips. Just gently invoke the thigh muscles to push the bones back. And then have the shoulders lift up away from the hands. So we get the arms comfortably full length. Ears are really between the upper arms. Chin's a little tucked. Can be tiring, potentially between the shoulders. And if we reach that point, we come down, and we're going to come down. So knees land, and let's bring the forearms down on the mat, still holding the block. Flatten the feet, take the knees apart, sink the hips back. And then we're going to pick up and walk the forearms forward. So if the block for you is not near the one end of the mat. Just work it closer. Hold it in the hands, but the forearms are on the mat. We're going to reposition the knees, and we're going to lift our hips when we're ready. So right now, possibly the block is between the palms. That's one place to start. So assuming it is, we want to open the shoulders. We got the hips lifted. Legs are wherever they work for us. Want to lift the hips, lift the upper back. Keep the neck released. So again, the head doesn't have to drop to being between the upper arms, but it lines up comfortably with the shoulders. And then let the head move forward until the face is over the block, and then come back and just ease back. Legs don't have to be fully straight. Lots of versions with the legs, but flow forward when you're ready. And if you do go back, explore the knees bending a bit, and then pressing a little bit of energy in the feet and straightening the legs to help glide forward. And the legs and knees, when they bend, they kind of pull back. So see if you can explore big springs. Okay, knees go back, put them down on the ground comfortably, and we'll take them wide, and we're going to release back. Let the head drop. Okay, I'm floating up. Now bring the knees close. So we're in a tabletop position, and we'll just flow into some cats and dogs. And then pausing. Now send the legs straight back, and then skate it forward to up by that shoulder, and then slide it back again. As little weight as you can on the foot, but keep it in contact and skate it all the way around to the other side of the body, and then look over that other shoulder, seeing the foot, and then skate it all the way back, up by the shoulder, all the way back again to the other side, and then drop it in under the hip. Maybe a cat and dog. And we're going to do the same thing with the other leg. Going to skate the toes back, sweep the foot out, up near the shoulder, all the way around, and looking over the shoulder. You've got one more, just going as we're ready. Really pressing onto the hands. So that, and we can drop that knee in. As we use the hands here, we want to really try to maintain equal pressure. So a couple of cats and dogs. And then when we're ready, we'll go back to the first side, and we'll get that foot up near the shoulder and walk it in near the hand so the knee's bent. And then we're going to move the knee forward. I'm going to pick up the back knee and take the hips backward. And so the hands haven't really moved unless they have to. One useful thing, if the block is still right there, you might want to like bringing the hands on the flat block. And that gives us a little more depth as we take the hips up and back. Let's just connect to some other muscles. So maybe tweak the block a little bit. So always important not to strain at joints, but I want to explore with fine tuning how straight we can bring our legs. Where's the weight through the base of the toes, the metatarsal ball of the foot? What's happening above the ankles? And then similar but different things on the front leg as we explore straightening. You get a place that does work, where you got the legs comfortably straight, and pause, and keeping the weight properly balanced on the feet, sink down toward that front leg.
Okay, let's release and just allow the front knee to go forward. And we're going to play on the other side. So back knee's got to go down on the mat. And the front foot walks wide and sweeps back in. Okay, and let's just, that leg that we just took forward, just straighten out the leg directly behind you. Press into the heel a bit. Just rock a little bit. And then return the knee onto the mat when you're ready. So the opposite leg will reach back. We can rock a little bit here too. It's been bent for a while. And then sweep wide. And then up by the shoulder, knee bends, and the foot walks into behind the hand, beside the hand. Get the angle right, let that front knee go forward, and as the weight shifts, tuck the back toes, lift the knee. And then we'll reverse by lifting the hips up and back, press to the back foot, and then reverse, letting the knee go forward, shifting the weight. And this is just gentle exploration with always fine-tuning exactly where that foot is, really feeling how we can change the internal response by fine-tuning where we're placing hands and feet. I mean, it's got to be why the sensory networks for them are side by side in the brain. And they do get a lot of neural footprint. So they can be useful when we practice. So when the hips go back, we're going to see if we can comfortably stay. And allowing ourselves to melt toward that front leg. Okay, and releasing. So we let the knee go forward, put the back knee down, walk that foot out, swing it back, and we'll keep it long, and we'll just sink our weight back down. We'll rock a couple of times, and then we're going to return the knee. Okay, block still under the hands so we can lift the knees and take the legs back. So both hands on the block, stable in the feet. Pressing the hips back, lengthening along the back. And see if the feet can walk just a little bit closer. And then walk the hands closer. So if you walk the hands onto a different part of the block, you might better squiggle the block now towards the feet and get it where it can give you some real support. So block can't pull us down, but it can keep us balanced as we use core muscles to draw the torso down. So engage the thighs, engage in the front body, that's the psoas, deep to the spine, and release the low back. And if you're super solid here, actually the hands technically come off the block and go around the backs of the ankles, just above the ankle bones. And then the arms gently pull. So this is a standing forward bend. This is our chili floor version of doing a forward bend. So really working where it's comfortable, where we can dig in and experience what's going on through the feet, in the legs, in the core, and really work with adjusting everything, keeping it working and fine-tuning. Explore things like pressing the head down. So we got spinal muscles that'll extend the spine, and they compress the head down. Okay, and just soften. Just let the legs release, knees maybe you want to bend, and bring the hands above the knees on the thighs, and slowly come up to where the knees are still bent. And we're leaning weight down the arms so we could start to move the spine in cats and dogs. And as you get that dog stretch, start to lengthen up in the upper back and round the length, but don't lose it as you reverse. And when you're ready, just see if you can let go and come tall. No rush. Okay, so back standing. So just finding that same place internally. We're going to use one leg to touch the toes in front and come wide, just straight out from the side. And then come in and up the leg. And is there a point where we can park? So it's short-term parking. Come back down, straight out to the side, and then just see if you can lift outward. Back down. And toes are going straight behind us. Get to reach through the toe to the toe, and then bend the front knee, connect the back heel. So we square the hips a little forward, and that means we have to adjust in the back foot. Tailbone drops, and inhale, reaches the arms up. So keep dropping in the sacrum, in the tailbone as you reach up, because initially we push up, the hips shift backward, right? Tailbone goes back. Okay, to reverse this place on the exhale, the arms sweep down, the hips move back, the legs reverse. And just start to look down, look at the front foot. See if you can lift the toes. Have a look at the knee. And then reverse. Keep moving forward. Weight shifts forward. Sweep the arms up. And just start to flow. Let the breath enliven the balance. And just flowing. Couple more. Okay, we go forward. We stay with that knee forward. We reach up. And then we're going to release the arms. Lift the back heel and shift forward. So we're back on the back toes and just skate it out a bit, bring it in. So weight is different in the feet. So what do we do in the core to even the weight? And when we're ready, the other leg's going to go forward, out to the side. It's going to come up the standing leg and pause. Okay. When our time is up, the foot comes down, and then just for a moment, reach out. And then back in and all the way back, putting the heel down, bending the front knee.
Okay, and then when we're ready, we're going to inhale up. So as we press up, lifting, we want to drop the sacrum. At some point, we're exhaling, so arms go back. That moves the hips back. And we sink toward the front leg. Okay. Whenever we get forward, we're staying. And then releasing the arms. So back heel comes up, shift into the front leg, and then just release out to the side. Coming back into neutral. Okay. So mat might be too sticky for our next. So the opposite leg goes forward and just keeps sweeping out back and crosses over. Tuck the toes, bend the knees, and pivot out that front leg as well. Right? Pivot the heel toward the center line. And then straighten up. Let the front pivot where it needs. And just sweep. Okay. So the other leg forward, wide and behind. As we go down, we adjust the front heel. As we come up, we unwind. So just exploring it as a sequence. Okay, so this time, just find a comfortable height, can be anything that's working. Pausing for a moment, just fine tuning the hips, float the arms up. This front arm, palms up, back arm, palms down. Next long, not leaning, use the eyes to look for that lower hand. And see where the weight is in the feet and the connection between the feet through the sacrum. And then it's up to the shoulder blades and out the arms. And then releasing. Actually, there's a releasing that just would spin you right round to the other side. Okay. So, leg sweeps back. Oh, we were just on that side. Leg sweeps back. And then once we find that comfortable height, that we're not trying to push a limit, we're trying to get really solid. We get the arms. And then wherever we are, it's the weight balance between the feet, the placement of the hips, the shoulder blades, out the arms, up the neck. Okay, and then release, unwind. And you can really unwind right to the other side.
So, to flow to the other side, it's interesting how it does require the arms, right? If the arms are near the hips, we don't have that inner momentum to flow around to the other side. Actually, maybe we should let's just try that one time. So, starting with the feet wide rather than one in front of the other and sweeping back. We've got the feet wide, turn. And as you turn, just let the torso turn, and let that turn the front hip or the front heel. Let that front heel slide. Back heel's going to come up. And then just spin to the side. Let the feet adjust a bit, and then turn. And as you turn, pick up the front heel and spin up the back heel. And now it's like we're letting the heels dial up the flow of the work in the body. So I often say moving from the hips. And here, let the weight shift in and out of the heels. And the way that kind of turns. Okay. And coming neutral. Okay. Last pose. We're going to work to from standing. We want to be long on our mat. There's lots of ways to get there. Actually, just come onto hands and knees. Have your block up, kind of up around the hands. And then whenever we're ready, a leg's going to go back and sweep up near a hand. You want to get the foot on the mat, and then you want to lean forward and really walk the foot as far as you can, and then bring the block under the shoulders, both hands on the block, lift the back foot, knee, not foot, lift the back knee. So we're really wide apart. See if the back foot will swiggle back a little bit. Whichever leg is forward, whichever that front leg is, bring that hand underneath the leg to the block. So we kind of spread the load a little bit. And then whatever width you've got, gently press the back heel back. Gently, lightly press the front foot forward. Not so much as trying to force it to move, but to connect down a chain of use all the way down. And then maybe melt toward the front leg. And then we're going to leave in a moment, but explore coming tall. Always seeing what you can do with the back leg. And then put the back knee down. And we want the hands on the ground. And then walk the back knee forward. Okay. So leave that front foot, it's up there somewhere. Leave it where it is. Bring that same arm on the outside, and now walk that front foot across the center line over toward the other hand. And then walk the hands forward. And we're just going to sink down. We can go down in stages. You can take the front leg, just the edge touching. So knee can be hovering, and we lift the back knee and bounce the weight in the hands. Don't let it all go to that lifted side. Keep leaning weight over to the other side. But then release down when you want to hold that for so long. So we can get the front leg down, let the foot move to where it's comfortable. And we're going to take the arms as far forward as we need. Block can be useful here sometimes too, right? help us stage our way down. And we just keep coming low. Okay. When we're ready, we're going to lift up. We're going to walk our hands in. And then once we've got some weight in the hands, just fine tune where the back foot is, just for a moment. See if you can tuck the toes, bring the knee off the ground to take weight out of the knee, balance in the hands, lift up and square the hips toward that front leg. And see if you can find that draw deep in the front body. Okay, and we'll put the knee back down, and we're going to walk the knee back in closer. At some point, we can release the front leg, taking it back. Maybe we want a bit of movement through the hips. When we're ready to switch sides, we'll send the opposite leg back and sweep it out wide. And we're going to walk it in toward the hand and keep walking it in so it's on the mat. And then see if the foot will walk forward a bit. And let's take the arm on the outside. We can do that right here. And then actually move the block behind the foot. Got the block sideways behind the foot, across the center line. We put both hands on, and we lift the hips, and see if the feet will work further away from each other. At some point, we want to put the back knee down and just see where we are. And maybe releasing down toward the front leg. Okay, we got the hands on the block when we're ready. And we're going to walk the back knee forward. And then we bring the hands when we're ready under the shoulders. And now that front foot's going to walk across the center line over to the opposite hand. And the back leg goes back. We're going to shift our weight forward. So we've either got that knee down on the ground, which is always a good place for it. We can also have it part way down, and the back knee can float up, and then we have to really shift the weight, keep weight on that supportive side of the body. But at some point, the back knee's down, the front knee is down. The foot finds the comfortable angle, and we allow ourselves to ease forward. And let's bring ourselves up. going to walk that back leg in. So at some point, we're able to release ourselves into a tabletop, and we'll take a handful of cat and dog stretches, really allowing also side-to-side movement, spiraling. And slowing down. And we're going to change our position. We're going to come onto the back body. So see if we can let the body release here. So the shoulder blades, the backs of the shoulders, upper arms, their ability just to let go for a moment helps release the neck, the upper spine. And then let's go down into the hips. So balancing the hips, find a comfortable place for them. And then staying in that place, bring the knees up. And the hand's going to hold the knees toward the shoulders. And then if you can remember where that place was on the sacrum, see if you can find it and rebalance there. And then let's take the feet up toward the ceiling. Actually, before you take the feet up, try grabbing the feet. Heels or big toes or sides, ankles, anywhere. And the feet up toward the ceiling and balance on that same place in the sacrum. Okay, so activate the arms. Gently pull down on the feet. Activate the legs and gently resist the arms. And use the eyes. Look for the ribs. Okay, and then relax the arms, push the legs. And can you roll up the back? And if it doesn't easily happen, use the hands. We're going to come onto the upper back. The legs are just hanging out overhead. We're really concerned about where the weight is. Backs of shoulders, shoulder blades. Kind of need to lift the spine up internally so weight doesn't go on the vertebra. Back of the head. Press down through the arms a bit. Add a bit of pressure. Now the hands end up on the hips. Could be back below the hips with the palms on the floor, or the hands could still be near the feet. Anywhere down the legs. And then the arms really have to get some gentle pressing against the ground. And let's ease our way back down. We're heading back to the weight on the hips. And when we're ready, the hands on the knees, knees toward shoulders.
Now use the hands. Just take the knees comfortably apart, arms lengthen, and then bring the knees close and back up the center line and wide again. Just a couple of very gentle circles in this direction. And then circling in the other. And then slow down, bring the knees apart and bring the soles of the feet together and rest the outside edges of the feet on the mat. Want to adjust the hips again. Once the feet go down, want to adjust so the sacrum is where we are comfortable balancing. And the arms are going to come close and we're going to tuck the shoulders under. We're going to lift the spine off the mat. So get the arms where you can activate the shoulders, tuck the tailbone, and then floating the hips up. And then connect the heels, right? And connect through the feet. Use the glutes, keep the hips floating up. And just for a breath or two, really work on lifting and keep making a lift effort. And we're going to float the hips all the way down. And let's move the arms away from the sides, release the arms. And then we're going to scrape down the edges of the feet. And adjust the body, release it on the mat. Let's move again, moving in the fingers and our toes, moving through the ankles and the wrists. Reaching through the arms, stretching down the legs. See if we can lengthen along the back body. And when we're ready, we'll bring our knees in, holding, rocking gently.